Hey there, fellow classic comic collectors. As always, my name's Scott Harris King, and in this episode, I'm going to do my second back issue haul video. For me here, as I'm recording this, it's day 71 of the self-quarantine. My hair, as you can't quite see it, but it's basically down to my butt cheeks at this point, and my beard is just like, the tentacles of Cthulhu. Everything is just a complete madhouse around here. And probably as a result of that, I'm buying more comics than ever. It's a little retail therapy. You get cooped up, and just hearing that sound at the door of some of the mailman delivering the next batch of purchase from eBay is a satisfying, rush of endorphins. So I've been buying a lot of comics on eBay. Luckily for me, most of the comics that I buy aren't that expensive. That is adding up, but I'm going to continue to do these videos until the day where we can get back to comic stores, and then I'll start doing some old-fashioned comic hauls. But for now, I've got some more packages to show you here, and I know what most of them are because I wanted to, open the envelope so you didn't have to watch me struggling with it, and a lot of them actually weren't packed all that great. This first one, though, was packed really well, and so I wanted to start with this here. I want to give a shout out to the silver-haired Bronze Age Babe Comics, because she sent me these first two books. It's Young Love number 50 and Young Love number 47. So I'm really excited to get these. I've mentioned in my previous videos, obviously I collect a lot of romance, and she had done a video about these, and we just started discussing them, and she mentioned she had some doubles from this particular run. The early issues of Young Love, when DC's first issue was 39, we saw that in my last haul video. I got issue 39. That introduced Mary Robin, Registered Nurse. Her series ran, I think, through issue 52, so it was a fairly long-running soap opera serial, and silver-haired Bronze Age Babe Comics was nice enough to send me some doubles that she had, so I've got issues 47 and 50 now. Thank you so much for these. I can't wait to dig into this. I'm kind of waiting to put the whole run together before I read them, because I want to read them all in order, even though they're sort of episodic. I really, really dig this cover for number 47. I don't know if you can read that, where she's going, "What are you doing? It's Connie you love." And the guy's like, "But you're here." So, hooray for true love, right? So thanks again for sending these. I really appreciate it. Next up, we've got something that I'm really excited about. Let me take it out of the sleeve here, because it's double bagged, and it is Pep Comics number 101. So you can see here the sticker on here. It says it's a good plus, and it's priced at $18. I paid $20 for it. I think they priced it a little because of the eBay fees, which is kind of typical. I'm still happy anytime I can get one of this issue of Pep from this era with this logo for $20 or less. I'm happy to do it. I'm not sure I would call it a good plus. I might call it just a straight good. It does have a tear in the cover right here that runs from here through Archie, so it's a pretty long tear. It's got a little bit of damage to the spine at the bottom as well, but it's got really nice colors. This is one of the last issues with this classic logo. I absolutely love this era. It's definitely my favorite design era for Archie, but Pep in particular. This is one of the last ones with this. Shortly after this, they adopted a different logo, and they started doing some different things where they're having multi-panel covers, and those have their own charm, but they're not nearly as cool as these. This one, I'm also excited because it has a date stamp on it. It says November 20. That would be November 20, 1953. You can see by the date here, Archie had a thing that they did for many, many, many years, where the dates on the cover every January, when the new year would come over, in addition to having the month, they would put the year. So you can see it says January 1954. All the rest of the ones from 54 will just have the month, and then when they get to January, it will say 1955. So anyway, really excited to get this. I only have a couple of the the issues of Pep with the big logo, but I love them. It's interesting, only to me maybe, but you can see the style of the numbering. Number 101 is actually a different font than the previous issues. It's a little bit smaller, so they're already sort of changing. And I might do an entire video about comic fonts that were used for the pricing. And if I do that, I think we've reached peak quarantine geekiness, but I have a bit of an obsession with the fonts that they use. So anyway, enough about that. Next up, we have My Romantic Adventures, number 81. This was listed as a 6.5. I could tell from the scans that it wasn't a 6.5. It's not uncommon for me to grade more strictly than on eBay, but it does have great colors, and it's just a really cool cover. I have a real soft spot for the ACG line, particularly Romantic Adventures. I just really, to be honest, I love the logo, but the stories in here are a little more free-flowing and wackadoodle than some of the formulaic DC stuff, so I try and pick these up when I can. I overpaid slightly for this. Again, it was advertised as a 6.5. I think, it's probably more like a 5. But it looks great, and I'm looking forward to digging into this. And these are more difficult to find than DC books from the period. And then we've also got, it's Patsy and Eddie, number 104. There's some great word balloons here. I particularly this one over here where it says, "Be on hand when this groovy Galahad of the cycle set makes the scene, and we mean like wow." Whenever adults are attempting to write teen jargon, it comes off as ridiculously cringy. This isn't quite up to the same level as some of the dialogue that Bob Haney would write shortly after this in Teen Titans, which is some of the worst fake teenage dialogue of all time, but it's pretty close. I'm trying to put together a full run of the Career Girls era of Patsy and Eddie. I'm going to do a whole video about this once I've completed it, because I think they're just wildly overlooked. A tremendous work in here from Stan Goldberg, some great stories. One storyline in particular to take place in here I think is fantastic. It also has a tight continuity because Patsy Walker has another title, and the stories go back and forth between the two issues. And it's also just fascinating because this is an Archie style series starting in 1945. Patsy Walker and her group of high school friends, and then all of a sudden we get to the Marvel Age, and in issue 95 of Patsy and Eddie, they graduate from high school, and then the series from there drops the teen humor and goes into pure soap opera, and they move to the big city and get jobs and all this stuff. It's absolutely great. Really overlooked. These issues are a lot harder to find than some of the other Marvels from the time period. So I got a really good deal on this. It was $6. It's probably a 3.5, but it looks great and it's complete, and I would more than happily pay $6 for any issues of Patsy Walker or Patsy and Eddie that I need in this condition. So really excited about that. Another day, another mail call. Here's a bunch of comics, so let's see what arrived today. First up here, it's Patsy Walker, number 124, The Girl Who Could Be You. This is a super special sensation, The Three Faces of Patsy. I'm pretty sure the tone isn't quite the way I just said that. This is the last issue of Patsy Walker. Patsy and Eddie continued for a few issues after this. So excited to get this. I'm looking forward to being able to do the whole video on this. Okay, next up, this one came sandwiched between two backing boards. I don't know which one this is. And let's see. Oh, it is. Oh, it's another issue of Patsy Walker. It says, after graduation, what? That's a reasonable question. This is issue 116. And so the graduation actually took place in Patsy and Eddie 95, which I don't have yet. That's the beginning of this run I'm talking about, where I want to get everything. So I'm looking forward to this. With this issue here, got a 115 on the way somewhere as well. Heck, it might be the next comic. So why don't we take a look and see what's up next. And here we are. It is upside down. Ooh, it's an issue of My Own Romance. It's My Own Romance, number 71. So this is Atlas. This is late Atlas. It's a pre-hero Atlas, but it's a late 50s. You can tell the era because it's got Jack Kirby art. So this is after Kirby returned to Marvel in 1957. So this was a bit of an impulse purchase for me on eBay. I haven't really gotten into the Atlas books. I'm considering it, but that is a whole different kettle of wax than the DC books. So the Atlas books, it's hard enough to find DC books in any kind of decent condition. The Atlas books are just like insane, just incredibly hard to find, period. But in any kind of decent condition, they're just crazy town. So I don't know if I have it in me to even try. I did pick this up again. It was on a whim. The price seemed cheap, and I know because these are hard to find that if I end up not deciding to hold on to it, I can flip it easily enough, get my money back, and this will go to someone who does collect Atlas. So I don't know, it's really cool to have these Atlas Jack Kirby books. I don't know how far down the rabbit hole I want to go. I have another even later Atlas right at the cusp of the Marvel age issue with Kirby art coming that's not here yet, and we'll see that in a future unboxing. So that's it for today's haul. Let's see what comes tomorrow. Okay, and I've saved the biggest batch for last. Just pulled these out, and it's a big pile of Archie Comics. So here's Life with Archie, number 27. At this point in the series, they weren't actually putting the numbers on the covers, so that can be a little annoying. But during this initial part of Life with Archie, the stories were all sort of more serious, sort of adventure stories. There are sort of longer form, rather than just the short gag strips. So I'm a big fan of this. This lasted until issue 41, and then with 42 they started doing the superhero parody stuff, and this series kind of got pretty crappy in my opinion for quite a while. They didn't resume the more serious stuff until around issue 100. But yeah, so I'm excited to get this. But I also have here several issues of Jughead. Here is Jughead number 48. So these are 10-cent books from the 1950s. These are sort of solid lower mid-grade books. This looks like it's probably a 4.5. Jughead number 70. Jughead number 73. Jughead books have not taken off to nearly the extent that Archie and Betty and Veronica have. Those two series, I think it's mainly because, of course, Jughead in this period of the comics still has his like anti-girl stance. He doesn't want to date. He doesn't like girls so much. So there aren't as many like pin-up covers, and that's what really drives a lot of the Archie collectors, or all these pictures of Betty and Veronica and all the romantic covers. Jughead has far fewer of those. There's a lot more Jughead and Archie and Reggie and stuff like that. So they haven't really taken off. This does have a nice Betty on here, but yeah, these are still much cheaper than the equivalent books from Betty and Veronica or Archie. Issue 102, which has got a pinball cover. So this is a 12-cent book, so this is early 60s. It's probably 62, 63, I'm guessing. And then I saved the last one, the big one, for last. It is Jughead number 84. The reason this is a key issue, though, has nothing to do with the cover for once. It actually has to do with the interior. This is the first appearance of Ethel Muggs, aka Big Ethel, who is, you know, a major character in Jughead. She became an ongoing sort of major cast member for the Archie universe. This is an early 12-cent book. So again, it's like 61, 62, not so easy to find. And you know, as a hardcore Jughead collector, obviously the first appearance of Ethel is a big deal. This also, receiving these books with a 102 and this 84 means I officially now have issues 84 and up for my Jughead series. So that is 84 through 352 for volume 1, all 214 issues of volume 2, and then I think it was 16 issues of volume 3 of Jughead. So at this point, I do have close to 500 consecutive issues of Jughead. So anyway, I'm really excited to get this cool batch of these Jughead and Archie books, and I've still got a bunch more stuff on the way. I've got a bunch of shipments coming. Some of them are really cool, and some of them I'm really nervous about. So I'll be doing more of these videos. Every time I get in, 15 comics or so, I'm going to do another video. So it'll be as sporadic. But for now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.